It's Free Talk Live. You dial toll free to join us here. The number 855-450-FREE like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. We have the Discord call-in line rooms over at discord.lrn.fm, so feel free to jump in over there, and we will get you on the air with us. With you in the studio tonight, it's Ian.
It's Nobody from electnobody.com.
And the Reverend Captain Kickass is here.
Nobody, welcome back. It's been too long, my friend.
Welcome back.
Nobody's been here in a long time.
Was that a welcome back, Cotter?
It was, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So yeah, you've been on an extended vacation. Went to visit the family up in Michigan for basically all of the holidays.
I showed up there just before Thanksgiving and just got back yesterday.
And so welcome back. And I figured, you know what? We got an open seat. It's Monday night. Let's drag you in.
Gotta like it.
Have you slept since 3 a.m? Because I heard you come in when you got home.
Yeah, I slept some.
Okay, good. So we'll take your calls and thoughts about whatever is on your mind. As always, there's plenty in the news to discuss here tonight. Coming up, there's a California newspaper that is ending its publication after 161 years.
Out with the old, in with the new.
Plus, a conservative group is mad at Burger King for using the D word on a commercial that they produced.
I talk about, damn.
And you guessed it. I thought it was going to be the word that we can't say on the radio. Yeah, that one. But we'll tell you more about what happened there and why these moms are upset about it.
Oh, is that the 1 million moms or whatever?
Yeah, it's that one, I think.
Right.
Yep.
When my father was growing up, Gone with the Wind came out.
Oh, wow.
And his mother wouldn't let him go see it because they said,
word.
Frankly, my dear, I don't really give a damn.
Yeah.
And it's funny, we can say that on the radio now.
It's true.
I was forbid from watching the movie On Golden Pond. Old 80s movie, but
I remember it.
It was filled with cussing.
Really?
Yeah, and so that's why I wasn't allowed to see it. It was otherwise a pretty, coming of age film, about family and stuff like that.
Yeah, I remember it as a very tame.
Yeah.
It's Henry Fonda. Wasn't his
Henry
daughter
Fonda.
in that
I think Jane
with
is
us?
in it too. Yeah,
yeah.
But it's filled with cussing by old and young alike. You know what I mean? So,
wow.
But that's
I've never seen it.
That's what made it great. Was that? I mean, in my opinion.
So did you finally get to watch it? At some
I did,
point?
and then I was like, "This movie's great." Not only is it a good movie and well written and acted, but there's plenty of cussing, which is my favorite.
And at that time, it was probably even more exciting
because I was forbid from seeing it. Right,
that's what made it more interesting. So you can bring up anything that you want. We got a lot to talk about here tonight. I didn't even have a chance to ask you, nobody, if there was something you wanted to discuss. So if there is, you can bring that up later. But we're going to jump into a story that you wanted to bring up, Captain. I think it was this weekend, and I don't think we just never got to it, about the Goldback microeconomy that you've created.
So, yeah.
And we have to define what a Goldback is first.
Okay. Do you want to do that?
You can do it.
Okay. So a Goldback is essentially 1/1000th of an ounce of gold flattened into what appears to be a piece of paper.
I don't know if flattening is the right word, and I'm going to say
it's sprayed on
it's like I've heard it's called atomically sprayed. I don't know what that really means, but it's some sort of 21st century process that flattening sort of gives you the idea of somebody's got a hammer.
Well, I'm just trying to paint a picture.
It's gold foil inside, so it's definitely been flattened.
No, it's not foil. It's being sprayed on
they reduce
atom
it
by atom,
powder,
or
and
something
then
like
spray
that.
it on the pot. Anyway, it's spendable gold. It's in the shape of what you would immediately confuse with currency.
It fits in your
dollars.
wallet.
It fits in your wallet. But it's way shiny and it's way cool. And
so cool, yeah.
It's Utah. The state of Utah has legalized it as legal tender in
just to be clear,
state.
Utah legalized gold and silver pieces from the U.S. Mint. So I looked at it. Actually, I looked at it over the weekend. I pulled up their gold and silver legal tender law that passed in 2011. And so you can't just go into the state of Utah with a stack of goldbacks and pay your tax bill. They won't take them.
Yeah, and that kind of matters also because if it's a legal tender law, then they're saying those things trade at face value. Mm-hmm. What they stamp on an ounce of gold is $50.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you could trade your ounce of gold for $50. Kids, don't try this at home.
Yeah.
Wow.
But they did make it so gold and silver are legal tender, and I don't remember if they addressed that in the statute as far as the value of it, but that's the restriction. So you can't just take any old ounce of gold and go pay taxes in Utah with it.
Right. So
and sorry to interrupt, but they also made it clear that it did not obligate people to accept gold and silver. So even though it's legal tender, meaning the government could accept it for payment of taxes and debts, you as a business owner aren't obligated to accept.
Which isn't what economists mean when they say legal tender. Normally when an economist says talks about a legal tender law, he's talking about a law that makes a particular currency what are the words on the dollar bill? Legal tender for payment of all debts, public and private.
That's exactly
so
it.
Basically, you can't, if somebody owes you money, if you win a judgment in court and they bring you dollars, you can't say, no, I don't want dollars, I want gold.
Or diamonds or whatever, right? Yeah. I want oil or whatever, right? Yeah.
But we did some research recently as well, because I'd always been confused about legal tender, and we determined basically, and we're not attorneys, but from what we could understand, you absolutely can, however, run a business and refuse to accept dollars. So
yeah, that's true.
Yeah, it's actually true. I was thinking about that. So yeah, it's kind of strange, because that's what I have always thought of legal tender laws as being, but they don't really have that effect. The thing the thing that forces you to accept dollars is the fact that if you don't pay your taxes in dollars, they'll take your stuff.
That's true.
That's the thing. That's the iron law of you have to have dollars or they'll kill you.
Yeah, and I think you're right. If certainly in a court situation, the court's going to make a judgment in dollars. Obviously, it's their money, so they're going to do that. However, I don't think that, and it would be interesting to find out this. This is a question I don't really know the answer to. If we are in a contract, with one another for gold instead of dollars, like I've loaned you some gold or something like that, and you've reneged on the deal and you've violated the contract. Can you then be given the option to pay that debt in dollars because it goes to a court?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, and as a matter of fact, that's one of the reasons that strange bit of nonsense is in our law is when FDR confiscated the gold, there were all kinds of contracts out there that had gold escalator contract clauses that said, basically they would specify something based on the price of gold. Well, all of a sudden there was no market for gold. So they had to know how to resolve those things, and so they just said, yeah, you can't require gold in payment. You have to accept dollars, and the court would probably just arbitrarily, set a. I don't know.
Now, I wonder if you could avoid that by having an arbitration clause, meaning that the parties would agree in advance. This isn't going to court. If there's a dispute, we're going to a private venue.
I would think so. That's common in most contracts.
Yeah, it is.
Well, you got to remember, though, this is in the context of illegal private ownership of gold.
No, I'm not talking about back then. I mean now.
Right.
So if we had a private contract where it wasn't under a court's jurisdiction, it was only arbitration clause, then would somebody be able to, say, well, I'm not paying you back with gold, I'm paying you back with dollars because legal tender? And I wonder about that.
It is an interesting question. It would be interesting to see how that played out in court, because the other thing is, I can imagine a bullion shop or foundry that you kept ordering gold and they kept sending you dollars, and it's like, I don't want dollars, I'm sending you dollars.
All right, so because contracts have to be supreme, right? More coming up here in moments. 855-450 free. That's 855-450-3733. You can join us on. This is Free Talk Live. You bring up what you want here. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE, like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. We have the Discord call-in line rooms at discord.lrn.fm. And lots of features are available to you on our website, so please get on over to freetalklive.com. We were talking about ForkFest just a moment ago off the air, but we should talk about it on the air as well because it's coming up in June and July, starting June 29th through July 5th, which means for the very first time, ForkFest, the Libertarian Decentralized Camping Festival, is going to encompass Independence Day. So I'm excited about that. It's going to be a great excuse to come hang out with other liberty-minded people, people that care about freedom, all hanging out at the same campground together and doing more than just hanging out, because there's usually things that people create to do, meaning, put together a poker game, put together a musical performance or a play or a speaker session or whatever, kind of thing you want to do. Board games. I mean, there's just all kinds of options, but it's up to you to decide what to do. Do you just want to come hang out, or do you want to create something for the people who are there to do? That's what you decide over at forkfest.party. That's where you can learn more about the event. It's June 29th through July 5th. It's going to be the fourth ever ForkFest, and it'll be also the first year that it happens after the Porcupine Freedom Festival, which is the festival that ForkFest came from. That's where it forked off of. So we're looking forward to seeing you there. Free Talk Live will be broadcasting from the event. Nobody, I imagine you're going to be attending again.
Nobody will be there.
And Captain Kickass, for your first time ever?
I will be there for at least 4 days. I'm trying to figure out how to get more.
Which 4?
The important 4.
So the one including the Independence Day?
The last 4, really. Right on. So I believe it's through the night of, just so I depart or check out, whatever they call it.
On the 5th.
On the 5th, right. Yeah.
Perfect.
I do suggest trying to get up earlier if you can, just so you can catch the tail end of the Porcupine Freedom Festival, because we forked, but I'm going to be at both of them. Yeah. I mean, these are both great events, and
ultimately I'd like to do both. I don't know that I can pull that off. I might be able to catch like the last day of the Porcupine Festival and then stay the week. I don't know how it's going to turn out, so stay tuned.
Well, the problem with only going to one day of the Porcupine Freedom Festival is you still have to pay if you're going for one day, whereas ForkFest, there's no ticket price, so show up for as much or as little as you want. It's all good. Just get your camping site or RV site or motel room from Rogers Campground, which is the beautiful location in the White Mountains where we'll be. Again, June 29th through July 5th. Let's go to your phone calls and thoughts, and we can talk more about the Goldbacks, which we didn't really get into that deeply, and the microeconomy that you created, apparently, Captain Kickass. But first, we go to Scotty in Arizona. You're on Free Talk Live. Hello, Scotty.
Good evening. How you guys doing today?
Hey, Scotty, what's on your mind?
Hey, man, I just wanted to talk to you about the Bitcoin, because I heard the advertisement, and I wanted to talk about how people are using that instead of actually, a lot of people are using those instead of actually using money now.
You're kind of fading out a little bit. I don't know if you're on a headset or something like that. Oh, it was a crank call. That's too bad. It sounded like it was going to be interesting. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. But yeah, we like Bitcoin. Bitcoin's cool. Cryptocurrency.
We do.
We're big fans.
I like alternative currencies.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah,
And crypto is obviously the coup de grace at this point of alternative currencies, right? We've seen what happens with the Liberty Dollar, and what happened to Bernard von Nothaus, and that
That's
type
the
of
founder
thing.
of the Liberty Dollar, and they got raided.
Yeah, and so if some person or single entity creates a currency, as soon as, we'll talk about the United States, as soon as the United States government feels like it might be infringing on their turf, they come in, shut it down, arrest people, and confiscate whatever it is. So that's why cryptocurrency is winning right now. But my enthusiasm was piqued by the Goldback when you introduced me to them.
And I was introduced to them over the summer when I attended Freedom Fest in Vegas and met the creators of the Goldback there.
For anybody that's watching on our live stream video, I'm holding up a Goldback right now, and you can see it's a little bit smaller than a U.S. dollar bill. It's got some printing on it. It says 1 Utah Goldback. The 1 stands for 1/1000th of an ounce of gold that's baked into this, foil-looking sheet of foil. Well, and it's
actually plastic.
But it's been sprayed with gold, and so it has 1/1000th of gold in it. And you can find out all about it at, what is it,
Goldback.com.
Goldback.com.
Yeah.
So, but
and they're not an advertiser, by the way. I'd just like to point that out. We are not sponsored by Goldback. I would love to be sponsored.
We should call them up and ask them.
If you work
I'm
for
actually
Goldback
in touch with them.
and you're listening and you want us to pimp the Goldback more than we already do.
We do give it some good pimping already.
Give us a call on in.
Well, it's better. The best thing that you can have advertised is something that you're really excited about, and so this would be an ideal advertiser for us.
So, prior to moving to Keene, I worked in an office in Seattle, Washington, and
you still work there. You just don't work there.
Yeah, I got a bunch of friends who are in that office, and I started a holiday tradition. And I'm going to give away the secret right now, but I started a holiday tradition called the Booze Fairy. Yeah. Right. And so I would go to the liquor store and I would get little airplane bottles of like whiskey or whatever you could get for like $1 or $2, and I'd get enough to leave one on everybody's desk, and I'd show up early, like probably right after or the weekend of New Year's or whatever. So it was between Christmas and New Year's, and I'd show up early one day and put a bottle of booze.
So
on
you're the only
desk.
one there. Nobody else was
right. And so people are like, "Well, where did this come from?" I don't know. Must be the Booze Fairy, right? Some folks figured out it was me after some time, and then they just kind of carried on the charade. But so I'm not there this year, right?
Right.
And so,
no more booze.
I didn't fly back to Seattle and visit the liquor store and show up to the office.
Right. It would have been an expensive.
So instead,
Christmas.
what I did is I made a deal where somebody supplied me with about 35 of these things. And they're, what's the market on, like $3 right now?
Right now, about $3 a piece. Actually, they've gone up on the AppNext site. They were charging like $3.50 a piece for them.
So I packaged these up, one in an envelope. I wrote, everybody's name on each envelope and sent them to one of my trusted coworkers, at the office, and they did the thing, right? So they came in early and left one of these envelopes on everybody's desk that had one Goldback each in it.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So you've got 35 people now in an office that each have
a
one
Goldback.
Goldback. What do you think happened?
Well, I think you're going to tell us what happened.
Some guy bought them all up.
Well, somebody's trying anyway.
I would have been that guy.
It did spark a bit of, shall we say, economic discussion as far as the philosophy of currency. And, a couple of guys who kind of have more knowledge in the area of currency than others sort of educated those who didn't. Oh, well, why does any currency have value? Well, because of what you think it has value of, right? So they're having these philosophical conversations about value and all this. And so, I get an email from one of the guys, and it's kind of a joke email, right? They're joking around with each other, but it's still kind of entertaining. So I just grabbed a couple of excerpts that I'll read from for you.
You also got some cool pictures with people like holding up the Goldbacks and looking very silly.
I got a bunch of selfies from people going, "Thanks for the gold bar! Wow, this is awesome!" and kind of thing. So. But I can read this to you.
Yeah, we're going to do that coming up
back.
here. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. And, we're big fans of alternative currencies here on Free Talk Live, and especially if other people can get excited about alternatives, that's like super exciting. So you can bring up whatever you want. Join us here on the radio, 855-450-FREE.
The next generation wallet is coming from Divvy. In just a few taps, you'll be able to send, earn, spend, and exchange digital money in seconds. Send money around the globe with only a swipe. Instantly exchange between Divvy, Bitcoin, and fiat right in the mobile app, and withdraw directly to your bank account. Divvy already offers the first one-tap solution for earning passive income with crypto. Multi-tiered masternodes allow everyone to partake in the network. Visit DivvyProject.org. DivvyProject.org.
It's Free Talk Live, and you can take control of the airwaves here. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE, like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. We like shiny things.
It's shiny.
On Free Talk Live.
Got a shiny object in the camera.
We're talking about gold. Specifically the Goldback, but just alternative currencies in general. We have done a lot of discussions of cryptocurrency like Bitcoin and Ethereum and the various different cryptos, Bitcoin Cash, Dash over the years here on Free Talk Live, and we're still huge fans of that. But when this Goldback thing came out back in October, I got pretty excited about it. And so we're going to talk a little bit more about that. But also want to say thanks to the folks over at Bitcoin.com because they're longtime sponsors here on Free Talk Live. And they've got a pretty great new site out that came out over the summertime called local.bitcoin.com that allows you to buy or sell Bitcoin Cash with dozens of payment methods, and it's global. So you can trade with people halfway across the world. There's no identification requirements to sign up for the site at local.bitcoin.com. That's local.bitcoin.com. So get started trading, buying, and selling Bitcoin Cash. All right, so Captain Kickass, you were telling us about this kind of holiday tradition that you created at the office for which you still work, but you now work remotely.
I still work for that company, and so the Seattle office is near and dear to my heart. I made some friends there,
some good
my coworkers.
Your coworkers, you every year we're leaving, quietly leaving gifts for the whole office, sort of like a secret thing, and you gave away liquor. But this year you gave them something useful. They can't drink the Goldback in this case. And you left one Goldback for everybody that you knew in the office, so roughly 35 or so that you left, and it was like Christmas morning or that week or something like that.
I think everybody, like when they came back from the holiday break, if you will, so probably post the new year, right? So January 2nd, January 3rd, everybody found an envelope on their desk with their name on it.
Without your name. It was just no note or anything like that, just a Goldback sitting in there. So somebody probably went online, what is this thing? And then they started talking about it, and people were talking about money and what value is and value-backed monies. And so you had something you wanted to share.
So at some point, somebody figured out that instead of getting booze, that they got the Goldback, right, from the... And so I had to make up a story about what happened to the booze fairy. And so the story was that the booze fairy had to check into rehab for its porn addiction. And so it couldn't make it to the liquor store. And so that's why they got Goldbacks instead.
Okay.
But somebody emailed me and said, I thought you might be interested in the conversations these Utah Goldbacks have been sparking. Mostly we've been focusing on trying to pinpoint the value of a Goldback. As we all know, a currency is only worth what people agree it's worth, and an item is only worth what someone will pay for it. Therefore, we've tried to set some bartering constraints to determine the value. So far, now keep in mind this is an office full of like tech guys,
people,
right? So we're talking nerds with nerdy senses of humor, right? Okay. So far, Steve will trade a piece of used floss for a Goldback, but not much else on his desk. Steve will not trade his Blue Company branded sunglasses for a Goldback. Steve will also not trade for a pair of Blue Company branded sunglasses using his Goldback.
What if he had 10 of those?
Well, Steve wasn't
10 pair of sunglasses?
Yeah, somebody ought to give him 9 more pairs of sunglasses and see if his valuations change.
Yeah.
That's marginal value.
This created an economic quandary that Brandon cannot wrap his head around. Glenn will take an undetermined amount of beef jerky for a Goldback.
Okay.
Phil will not stop bothering me for a Goldback. We are still by iteration working out the value of a Utah Goldback. I will keep you updated. Thanks.
That's cute.
So, yeah, I mean, like, so they started going, oh, well, this is worth something, right? Yeah. So I'm sure several people Googled it. They shared the link, amongst the office. And
So I think it's a teachable moment.
Absolutely.
And I think the lesson to teach at this point is if you want to know what it's worth, set up a dollar auction for them.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting. Yeah.
And
place your bids.
Huh?
Place your bids on the Goldback, right?
Exactly. And that shows you the value of the dollar, where it's like, it really matters how many pairs of sunglasses you have before you don't value your 1,000th pair of sunglasses nearly as highly as you did your first one, and as a matter of fact, by this time they're getting underfoot. They're getting frigging irritating unless you're actually in the sunglasses business.
Right, you're tripping over them. So at any rate, another person responded to everybody on this email thread and said,
"Oh, so this is a giant CC'd everybody kind of thread,
7-8 people, something like that." So, so this is a person who can confirm. He says, "All I can confirm in the office, one Utah Goldback currently has a value equivalent to 0.5. That's 1/2 ounce of Righteous Felon brand Bourbon Franklin flavored beef jerky sold to this other guy, Brian."
Okay.
Also, it's worth one bowl of Jijiang instant noodles sold to this guy named Hans. Of course, value is subject to market
Sounds like
fluctuations. Thank you. Right. So,
instant noodles, all this sort of office food reminds me of being in jail.
Yeah. So you show up for work, and then all of a sudden there's this shiny object that's maybe worth $3, and so people start bartering things for it. Like
interesting.
Selling a bowl of ramen noodles for a Goldback,
that's
right?
So cool.
A half ounce of beef jerky, a pair of sunglasses, whatever, right? So a microeconomy has been created in this enclosed environment of 35 people using nothing but the Goldbacks.
And you did it. You started this.
I'm like, I did that. That's awesome,
cool, man. Thank you for sharing that. I love it. By the way, the price right now of the Goldback on Goldback.com is at the highest I've ever seen it. It's $2.81. And that's before you factor in shipping them, right? So you're going to end up paying more. If you go to APMEX, which is like one of the bigger metals companies out there, they sell gold and silver bullion. They are now selling the Goldback, and they're asking $3.54 again before the shipping cost is factored in. So that gives you some idea of what people are paying.
So what was the first number? Was that somebody's buy price?
The official price from Goldback.com is $2.81.
That's what they'll sell it for?
That's what they're selling them for. Yeah.
Huh. So I wonder why you would trouble yourself to buy them from APMEX.
You can pay with crypto on APMEX, and they don't take that at Goldback. APMEX will give you free shipping, I think, on 5. So if you get like the whole set, you get free shipping on that.
Right.
But APMEX has to pay $2.81 or whatever the rate they're getting.
Sure.
So they got to make something on it. They got to mark it up.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's a fascinating little piece, and we're going to definitely talk more about it in the future. I've been in touch with the Goldback people here, and so I'm hoping that new exciting things could be announced later this year about these things, because I want to see them get bigger. I want to see more people using these things, because the thing that they've done that's brilliant here, and again, they're not a sponsor, but I would love for them to be. The brilliance of the Goldback is to allow people to actually have useful gold.
Spendable gold. Right? Because isn't that like one of the problems, even though gold is portable and fungible and that kind of thing, like, carrying around an ounce of gold, not practical.
No, not practical. And also it's not practical to carry around 1/10 of an ounce of gold.
Right.
Because you can lose the thing. I mean, those things are so tiny. It's like the size of your thumbnail, and it's $160.
Right. Yeah.
If that thing falls out of your wallet,
you've got to put it in a. I've seen people carry them. They always have them in this cardboard containers,
right?
Because they're too small to keep track of.
It's the same thing with the crypto. It's the coffee conundrum, right? Everybody goes, well, it's not going to be real currency until I can buy a cup of coffee with it, right?
I can buy a cup of coffee tonight.
Well, here you go. Utah Goldback, that's worth $3. I can go get a cup of coffee for $3.
Presuming someone will accept it from you, and they just might.
And the place where I really think that backed currencies, people don't like the word stablecoin, and I understand that, but the great thing about backed currencies is the idea that you can give somebody a solid ounce of silver to pay for your cup of coffee, and instead of having to cut that silver coin up to give you change, he can send you back your change in the form of a silver-backed crypto, right. So this many ounces or this many grams is your change.
Well, since we're talking about good money, let's talk about bad money. Coming up here, China is looking to issue their own, what the media is calling cryptocurrency. We'll get into that coming up here.
We got
moments.
What you want.
Why you say? 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. And this is a real bad idea. This is Free Talk Live. You can dial in toll-free here at 855-450-FREE, like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. Here tonight, it's Ian.
Nobody.
And the captain.
Also want to say thanks to Wild Bill from Seaville. He is a Free Talk Live silver amplifier. Wild Bill contributing $5 a month to the AMP program, which you can join as well over at ampamp.freetalklive.com.
Like Wild Bill Hickok?
It's Wild Bill from Seaville.
Oh, Seaville.
I don't know if that's Charlottesville or what ville that is, but that's where he's from. Seaville. You can join up over at amp.freetalklive.com, and you can do it with credit card. You can do PayPal. You can do also Bitcoin, BTC, to help us advertise, market, and promote Free Talk Live. If you like the ideas that we talk about here on Free Talk Live, talking about, in this case, financial freedoms here tonight, but overarching topics tend to be freedom related. If you appreciate the message that we have on this show, then please join the AMP program. We could use your help. It's your $5 a month, or in this case, Bill's $5 a month, that gets pooled together with other folks, and then it helps us get on more new radio stations. We've got over 200 stations now from coast to coast and beyond, as far away as Guam and Alaska, even to the U.S. Virgin Islands. And it's because of listeners like you contributing to the AMP program, and listeners like Wild Bill from Seville. You can go to amp.freetalklive.com to get signed up there. That's amp.freetalklive.com.
Real quick, just to wrap up on the Utah Goldback microeconomy that I created in an office. People often think that currency is a human construct, and that's not true.
Who made it?
This microeconomy reminded me precisely of some sort of a documentary that I watched years ago, where primates, right, orangutans, apes, baboons, also just sort of naturally use things as currency. They'll use
sort of
like
naturally arose, basically.
Pebbles, things like that. And you will notice, like in observable. I don't know what you call a family of orangutans, or but a captive observable audience of those. If they start trading these things that are seen as value, all of a sudden you see stuff like prostitution amongst apes.
Really?
Right? So the guys will all fight over it, and whoever collects the most will go and bring it to the female of the species and offer it to her in exchange for sex.
Wow.
So
it is the oldest profession, isn't it?
Currency is not specifically a human construct.
Interesting.
It occurs naturally in primates as well.
Wow.
And that's what this experiment reminded me of, because I'm kind of calling all my friends back in Seattle a bunch of apes for trading the Goldbacks now.
Yeah, and the thing is, people say, "Oh, we should do it. We should eliminate money." The commies are always saying we should eliminate money, and it's like, how do you do that if there's no legal tender? Cigarettes become money.
Mm-hmm. Well,
weed becomes money. Anything of value can become money.
Exactly. Even absent the state, think about all the different things that have been used as money, right? Tea, grain, right? Rice, salt, right? These are things that are considered money, at least historically speaking, right? So, absolutely spot on. Even absent the state, if somebody says we're going to get rid of money, it's never going to happen. People are going to use whatever is convenient for them to barter in.
The commies are constantly pushing for people to go against their nature, right? So that's one example. You just gave us an example of how money is natural, that it comes about naturally. And so the commies are saying, well, we need to reject that idea. We need to just stop using money. We need to get rid of all of that. And as you guys have pointed out, that just can't happen, because it's a natural thing. In the same way that it's also against human nature for people to give away, everything that they have, everything that they've worked for, and to where the people who aren't working, the people who are completely living off of the generosity of others, are getting all this stuff and they're not working for it. It's inevitable that somebody's going to be upset about that.
Yeah.
It just doesn't work. And so good luck to them. I don't want to participate in that. And that's the other thing. They've got to force people by the threat of violence to participate in a system that's that crappy.
And that's what I'm trying to tie these people down on, because it is so hard talking to an NCOM,
an anarcho-communist.
An anarcho-communist or anarcho-socialist, to get him to pin down exactly how his system works. It's like it gets down to the hand-waving level of detail, and beyond that, it's like they won't go into the mechanics of how this thing is supposed to work. And that's just frightening to me. We want to sell you the system, but we're not going to tell you how it works. If you ask, we'll get mad at you.
Well, some of them have come up with, remember there was actually somebody mentioned it in the chat room last night. We didn't get a chance to talk about it, but the Venus Project, which
I remember that.
has been described as the newer version is Marxism with robots.
that guy with two first names, Peter something or another?
I thought it was like Jacques or something like that, but I don't know. But anyway, it started in the 1970s, I think, and now it's been modified by the Zeitgeist movement to essentially be, their plan is it'll be a giant computer that decides everything.
Oh, it was Peter.
So that's the plan.
The funny thing
it was Peter Joseph.
The Venus Project could actually kind of work if but the thing is, there's only one way to implement it that it would work.
Voluntarily.
Each person has their own little terminal in this system, and they're basically trading with each other. And the reason
that's not what they want.
That's not
what they want.
I mean, and that's the thing is, I remember thinking about, okay, I'm writing a computer game. How do I implement a free market economy? And the answer is, I don't. I just give the people the interface to interact with each other.
Right.
And apart from that, I do nothing except, write the code to make it possible for them to give each other stuff.
Right. I have no problem with people who wish to start a commune, operate within a commune, be a part of a commune.
Have at it.
Have at it, as long as you're not forcing anybody else to your way, your life, your preferences.
Right.
Right. Far out, solid, and right on. I fully think that in an actual, non-statist society, that there will be pockets of communes everywhere, and some of them will work great, and some of them will fail horribly.
Most of them,
right? But as long as they're not coercing other folks to their way, to their preference, go commune away. Be as hippie as you want to be.
Show us that some of this can work. Prove your case before you try to writ it large across an entire society.
Yeah, well, that's the biggest problem with so-called scientific socialism is you don't impose new innovations on society by first globally without finding out if they work. That is not a scientific way to approach the world.
Yeah. Well, and just because your idea might work on a farm with 20 or 30 or however many people does not mean it's going to scale up to 20,000 or 200,000.
Nor should it.
Or 2 million.
Yeah, and it probably won't, because the thing is, in a smaller group, you can have actual bonds. Like, if you have a tribe of people that are genuinely attached to each other, okay, then within a group of like 150, you could manage that like a tribe. The problem is a tribe can't grow above 150 people.
Right,
It'll split.
the Dunbar number.
Yeah.
As we've seen with every group that's ever existed, splitting, whether it be religious disagreements, splitting religions, whether it be political disagreements, splitting political parties and political movements, you just cannot grow a group past a very small number.
And speaking of vernacular, what do people call their neighborhood? The community, right? So, I mean, it seems to me that a community can't exceed sort of the Dunbar number as well, right?
Well, I mean, it can.
It can, but as far as your ability to affect it.
You get divisions within it.
Right.
So we can talk about the Chinese government. They are stepping up to the plate, or at least they want you to think they are.
Speaking of communists.
In the world of currency. Are the Chinese, the Red Chinese, actually going to be the first government on the planet to release its own so-called cryptocurrency? It's digital currency.
I guess the first thing is I think that at this point, calling the Chinese communist is...
that's what they call themselves.
It is what they call themselves, but it's almost disingenuous at this point. More on their part than on yours. But
nobody?
I don't want to confuse people into thinking that in the 70s they were real communists. They and they had the Great Leap Forward, and a few million people starved to death. And the Cultural Revolution, where they killed all the educated people. I mean, that's real. That's real communism. But then they moved somewhat toward a much freer market whilst having still iron political control.
Yeah, it's a bizarre situation over there. We'll talk more about it coming up in hour 2 next. Have you heard of LibertyCon? LibertyCon is not only a convention with great speakers like Whole Foods CEO and co-founder John Mackey and Nobel Prize winner Vernon Smith, but it's also unique because you get a chance to network with more than 70 pro-liberty organizations, one-on-one for the purpose of career advancement, business, and internship opportunities. April 3rd through 5th in Washington, D.C. You can learn more by visiting libertycon.com and use code FTL for a $10 discount on your registration. That's libertycon.com.
Free Talk Live.
This is Free Talk Live. You can bring up whatever you want as we launch into the second hour of the program. The toll-free number tonight is 855-450-FREE like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. Coming up, we got to get to this conservative group of moms who are really mad over Burger King's use of the D word in a commercial, apparently. But we're still talking about money. We spent a good portion of the first. Yeah, we'll get into it. The good portion of the, not that one. Okay. Good portion of the first. But I'm sure that would upset them too, knowing these people. But the first hour, we talked a lot about money and alternative currencies here on Free Talk Live, and it led me to a story I've been sitting on for a couple of days about China and their new, or soon to be released, supposedly soon to be released, digital currency. Of course, the news media is getting this wrong, and they're calling it a cryptocurrency, and we can talk about why that's wrong coming up here in a moment. But with you tonight, it's Ian.
Nobody.
I've got something to say. It's better to burn out than to fade away. It's the captain.
And yes, he is Captain Kickass. We're going to go actually to your calls here. In this case, we've got a call from the future where Mark Edge, our co-host, who has been traveling over the last 48 hours or so, is calling from Hong Kong. Hello, Mark.
Oh, can I get tomorrow's lottery numbers?
Do we have you? Mark, are you with us? Too bad. I was giving him some assistance on changing his settings right before we went on the air, and maybe he changed them in the wrong way. I was instructing him on how to adjust his settings to where his voice activation would not be clipping him, but maybe he
missed the mark.
He might have slid the slider in the completely wrong direction. I told him to take it down. Maybe he took it all the way up. So we'll try to get him back on.
Leave a mark.
We'll try to get him back a little bit later on. Toll-free number, Vaginitarian.
Mark my words.
In the chat room on the Discord server says, classic Mark.
Mark my words.
Screwing up the tech. It's going to be fun when he tries to put his broadcast set together when he gets to the Mariana Islands. I got everything labeled for him though, so we'll see. I think I feel like he can do this.
Do they have duct tape in the Marianas Islands? I feel
think so.
like he's going to need it.
Yep. So anyway, we'll get back to him here when we can iron out whatever these difficulties are. The story coming from decrypt.co, China's central bank has issued a paper stating that it has completed much of the development for its new digital currency. Reporting according to local news outlet JRJ. The report says that the Chinese central bank has finished the top-level design for the currency. It has formulated the necessary standards, research and development, and completed testing for the currency, both as a substitution for base money and for anonymity. According to
substitution for anonymity?
No, well, yeah.
Well, yeah,
depends on how you read it.
That sentence is weird.
According to the Chinese,
that was unintentional accuracy.
Yeah, the Chinese media site Caixin, the currency known as DCEP will debut as a small-scale experiments in Shenzhen and Suzhou. Observers said the cities were chosen because they are near to the central bank, reporting Chinese crypto news site Jints. The government has also piloted measures to restrict the withdrawal of physical money. State-run news agents, because they want you to get into their digital currency, they don't want you to get out of the digital currency.
You can get in, but you can't get out.
State-run.
See, and that's why I think that we should always be buying Bitcoin.
What do you mean?
Because it looks that way if you're like, yeah, I'll sell it to you, but I don't want to buy it back.
Oh, you mean you should be buying it back from somebody to whom you've sold it, is what you're saying.
Yeah. See, I always think that I think that in terms of inspiring confidence, that goes a lot further than any gain the price gets by, not wanting to trade it for dollars.
Yeah, I don't blame you for that. I don't think you're wrong for saying that. It's just that buying it back adds a level of complexity when you're doing it more on just the occasional, oh, hey, I'll buy that from you. But if you're doing it regularly for anybody that walks through the door, it gets a little bit more complicated, just as far as like if you're running a vending machine, for instance.
Regarding this Chinese digital currency, I'm reluctant to call it a cryptocurrency.
Yeah.
Because I don't know certain things.
Well, it's not a cryptocurrency.
Is it blockchain-based at all?
Why would it be?
Okay, so then in as much as the U.S. dollar
and
is
even hold on, even if it was
digital,
blockchain-based, what good would it be if it were blockchain but run by the government? Because they can still manipulate whatever.
No, I just wanted to know, like, so I feel like the term cryptocurrency is getting co-opted, and it is, right? So people are going to start calling things cryptocurrencies that are not.
Like the Facebook coin, Libra.
That is not a cryptocurrency.
Not yet.
Right.
It doesn't seem like it's going to be.
And it
doesn't exist
I don't
yet.
think it's going to be anything from.
You don't think it's going to come out?
But
no, it's not looking good for them from everything I hear.
They did too much telegraphing on that. They should not have announced it. They should have just developed it and released it. But instead, they had to make a big to-do about it, and then the government got in.
It would have been
I'm wondering if that was a strategic play. But
what would the benefit be of that?
Well, for one thing, it was only a matter of time before some big tech company floated this idea. So maybe the federal government wanted the most frightening company on earth to float it so they can shoot it down and everybody would cheer.
And that would put a dampener on anybody else doing the same thing, basically?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So Google doesn't try it, or somebody more freaking competent than Facebook.
Yeah.
Nobody's going to buy a cryptocurrency from the company that is, when they're not selling your data, they're losing it.
Yeah.
They have had some success with the, what do they call it, the marketplace? The Facebook
I've heard
marketplace.
About that, yeah.
And so, like, as a business such as they are, their entire goal is to continue to forward, the profit machine, right? Figure out where they can, make more money and, profit off of their enterprise. So that seems like it would sort of flow, right? Oh, they want to use their own cryptocurrency or their own digital currency to power their own marketplace to make it easier to trade between people. That makes sense. But my question all along has been, why? I mean, cryptocurrency in and of itself is permissionless. It never asked.
Right.
And it's never going to. And it doesn't care. Right? So, like,
it doesn't care who you are. You can just get some.
If I were Zuckerberg, I would have just developed the thing and released it.
That's what
because he has the money to pay the developers to bring on the brightest minds in the cryptocurrency world. Could have just kept, put them all.
Worst case, there might have been a few leaks, but it wouldn't have been the end of the world. It would have all been pure
that was
speculation.
Already coming, right? They were already kind of leaking that.
But it wasn't a leak. No, it wasn't a leak. They put it out there.
No, but before that, right? There was some like...
Well, it was April of last year when they put it... There wasn't any real rumors before it came out that they were doing this.
Yeah.
It wasn't like a leak. It was, this is confirmed. Facebook is doing this. They announced their big consortium where they announced PayPal and they announced MasterCard.
But before that, there were rumors that Facebook was
maybe
dabbling in cryptocurrency. They hired, some cryptocurrency guy and blah, blah, blah.
And that was the first thing that worried me about Libra in terms of it's not going to come out, is they had this huge lineup of people who were completely opposed to the existence of cryptocurrency and actively resisting it in every way they can. And, it's like, having the John Birch Society trying to get together and do real communism.
So I think we all agree that the Chinese currency, as well as the United States currency, is already digital.
Sure.
Right?
That's what you pay with your credit card.
Right. So
digital version
what's
of
the
dollar.
Actual news?
Well, basically what they've probably done is written an online banking app, basically, that you can run on your Palm Pilot.
It just sounds to me like
that's the question.
Well,
is
they already
it
have
denominated in yuan?
It sounds to me like it's a new way to get rid of cash.
They're not. I don't have that detail at this point, Rich. They're saying here they're calling it the DCEP, but I don't know what that really stands for or what it means or how many yuan it will be worth or whatever. But let's go on. Here's a little bit more. The government has piloted measures to restrict the withdrawal of physical money. State-run news agency Xinhua said the pilot is a measure to combat money laundering. Crypto analyst Dovey Wan tweeted that it's a precursor to test out the suitability of digital cash. As you pointed out, they already have a digital form of currency over there. You can buy things with WeChat Pay and with Alipay. These are two digital forms that are very, very highly used in China. We can talk more about what their plans are coming up here in moments. 855-450 free if you want. This is Free Talk Live. The toll-free number here is 855-450-FREE, like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. We have the Discord call-in line rooms at discord.lrn.fm. With you in the studio tonight, it's Ian.
Nobody.
And I'm all right. Don't nobody worry about me.
We weren't.
It's the captain.
But we're glad you're here.
I meant that specifically for nobody.
Yes. Edge Wallet, by the way, I want you to know about this. You can use it to buy, sell, trade, and securely hold cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin, BTC, Dash, Ethereum, Bitcoin Cash, tokens, Monero, Ripple, Stellar, Ravencoin, and not the Chinese Commie Coin. You cannot use that in Edge Wallet. And hopefully you'll never be able to because it's not a real cryptocurrency. But Edge is great because they got a veteran team behind it. They've been building crypto wallets since 2014. It's user-controlled, meaning you control your money, not some bureaucrat somewhere who can pull a lever and make it so you can't get access to your coins. So you have full access. It's iOS and Android devices, so whichever one you got, there's an Edge wallet waiting for you in your app or Play Store. Just go and download it. Or if you want to learn more about it, before you download it, go to edge.app, and they'll tell you about the technology behind it there. That's EDGE, edge.app. And we were talking about this China coin that they say is on the verge of coming out. The story from decrypt.co, the government of China saying it's almost ready. Now, what that actually means, it could be months down the road, it could be another year, but they want you to believe it's imminent. And they're talking about ways to restrict the physical withdrawal or the withdrawal of physical money, meaning they want people to get into this state coin, but they don't want them to get out of it.
That phrasing just...
Is there an exchange rate established with the Petro yet?
That's an excellent question.
Good question.
It's supposed to be...
Ask him how many Petros one of these...
The China coin is worth?
Digiwan's worth.
Yeah, well, that was interesting. So I'm glad you brought that up, Nobody, because I had a contact recently, and I'm trying to remember if it was email or if it's somebody who sent me a message on Discord. Yeah, it was Discord. And I'll just read this statement here from Feliz Caracas. He writes to me, he says, "Hi, Ian, I've been living in Venezuela during the past 9 months, and the last 2 weeks I've been assisting in a bakery to accept the Petro, registered on an exchange, traded Petro for Bitcoin, and cashed out. I can answer any question regarding the Petro and Venezuelan crypto adoption. I've seen all the systems they're using, how people are lining up to spend their Petro, and how merchants are accepting it." Now, mind you, this is the first I have heard about this, and we've looked.
Yeah, I was going to say, yeah.
We've looked and we've looked and we've tried to understand where this Petro is, how it's available, how one can get it, if it's even possible. The last we'd heard, they were issuing paper certificates for the Petro. It was just
Well, that gives us like a dozen questions to send this guy. Let's see what he says.
Well, I told him, well, let me finish what he says here. He says, I would like to share these real insights with the community, as the information about the Petro is often extremely biased. And it does seem that way. I can also tell you about my general experience in Venezuela, as I've been living in various places, connecting with various classes of the population. I would be very interested. I told him, hey, we're on 7 to 10 at night, 7 nights a week. Please call in whenever is good for you.
Right.
So I don't know when or if he's actually going to call, but that's the first person we've heard of saying that they've actually had possession of a Petro.
Yeah, I've never heard of anybody having a wallet with a Petro or a wallet that would hold Petro or anything like that. I've not seen an exchange with Petro on it as far as a crypto exchange is concerned, and I would assume that's where it would be traded. So, I don't know. And going back to the wording of your article, just the way the words were strung together made me think that this might be. It sounds like they're trying to wrap getting rid of cash into this thing.
Sure,
like
why
the
not?
Cashless society, right? That's the government's dream.
Isn't that what they ultimately want to do in all governments everywhere? Is get rid of cash. That way they can track every transaction. Yeah. That's the benefit to them of running a system like this. But that also makes one of the upcoming statements even more confusing. So we'll get a little deeper here into the story. But addressing concerns that the DCEP, which is what they're going to be calling this thing, will be used as a mechanism for financial surveillance, Mu Changchun, who leads the bank's Digital Currency Research Institute, told an audience at a conference in Singapore in November, quote, "We know the demand from the general public is to keep anonymity by using paper money and coins. We will give those people who demand it anonymity in their transactions." I don't believe it.
How are they going to do that?
I don't believe it. The answer is that's not going to be a possibility. I don't know why they're saying that.
I mean, unless they give everybody the privacy within their coin, right? If they develop the coin in such a way that it is a privacy coin.
But they won't, because that would require them to release the code to the coin.
Right.
Would require them to be able to allow people to, sort of roll their own, take the code and generate their own executable from it or whatever, right? It would require them to give this data out to people. And a closed system like states create is not going to do that kind of thing.
Right, and it violates the 5 pillars too, right? So
what are those?
The 5 pillars is what Andreas talks about, the 5 things that make a cryptocurrency a cryptocurrency.
Can you recap those?
Yeah, open, borderless, decentralized, neutral, and censorship resistant. Well, already
it violates all of them.
Already, it's not borderless.
Yeah.
Right? It's not open, obviously, if they're going to keep the code to themselves, right? It's not neutral.
Yeah.
Right. It's not decentralized, and it's not Well, it might be censorship resistant. We don't know what the other qualities of it are.
Well, it's being run by the censors, so
yeah,
I'm going to guess no.
They're going to make it so that if they want to freeze, if you're a Chinese dissident and you have a wallet on this system and it's got some China coin in it, or DCEP, and they decide that you are bad boy, Captain Kickass, and they're going to punish you. They're going to punish you. They'll just go ahead and freeze your account.
Right. Switch. You're off. You don't exist anymore.
Yeah, and it won't be like they have to now where they have to call a bank up and say, hey, can you freeze Captain Kickass's account, which the banks will always do. Now they'll just go ahead and freeze you. So they've cut out the middleman in that case. They can just do their dirty work immediately.
Right.
And more efficiently and effectively in that case. I don't believe this for a moment that they're going to have anonymous transactions on this network. Maybe they'll have some sort of fake anonymous thing like, just check this box and you're anonymous.
I would expect there to be just a back door in it so that, it keeps your friends from seeing the outgoing transaction, but if the government wants to see it, I will bet they'll be able to.
It's anonymous to anybody you use it to pay, except for the government. Right?
Maybe you might be onto something there, and that would be sort of kind of true. It would make her statement kind of true.
They'd at least, in one context, be okay using the word anonymous.
The publication, according to the story here at decrypt.co, of the central bank's latest report follows an announcement by the Chinese government this week that it could launch a nationwide blockchain network called BSN. Emphasis on the BS.
That's immediately what I thought.
Yeah.
BSN.
BS
if the
network.
last word is network.
Yeah. Soon as April, the initiative is separate to the digital currency, but supported by large payments companies such as China Mobile, China UnionPay, and China Merchants Bank, and others. So there's not much more to this story, just basically beyond the claim that they're going to make some sort of claim to anonymous transactions on a state-run coin, and the state coin is claiming that they're almost ready.
That's a more accurate term, state coin.
Yeah. Toll-free number here is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. However, if they do this and they're successful with actually making this thing come out, they will likely be, unless you count the Petro, which it's hard to really count the Petro for anything, they'll be the first state to do it. I want to tell you about my favorite cryptocurrency wallet, Edge Wallet, at edge.app. Edge is the wallet I use more than any other, and that was true long before Edge Wallet became a sponsor of Free Talk Live. Edge Wallet allows you to buy, sell, trade, and securely hold your cryptocurrencies, including Bitcoin, Ethereum, tokens, Monero, Ripple, Dash, Bitcoin Cash, and more. It's available for both Android and iOS, and you can download it via the Play or App Store or via Edge Wallet's website, edge.app. Secure your freedom with Edge Wallet. This is Free Talk Live. You can bring up anything you want here. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. And by the way, all this talk about Bitcoin, we've driven the price up, gentlemen. The price has gone up in the last hour. By the way, with you in the studio tonight, it's Ian.
Nobody.
And the captain.
Last hour, Bitcoin's up 2.38%, up almost $200.
Nice. What's it at now?
8,360.
Very well.
8,360. So you can bring up whatever you want here. We've been trashing on the China coin thing that they're supposedly going to be coming out with sometime soon. We don't know.
State coin.
Yeah, we don't know how soon that's going to be. But if they do manage to come out with this thing, then they will hold the claim to of being the first state in the first nation state, which of course we all want to abolish those things, but they'll be the first one to do their own currency, their own digital currency, and I mean that's a claim to fame to some extent.
Well, not if the Petros out there.
But that's the thing; you can't even tell if the Petros out there. There are people who say it is, but good luck getting it.
In my mind, it's a non-accomplishment because their currency is already digital.
You mean the Chinese currency?
Yeah. I mean, all
this
state
one gives them
coins
more control.
All state currencies are currently digital, at least more so than they are physical.
Yeah, that's true.
There's not enough dollars in the world to satisfy all of the dollars that are in, quote, circulation, unquote. Right? There's not a one-for-one relationship. In fact, there's a very small percentage of actual cash that exists in relation to the number of zeros in everybody's bank accounts.
If you want more businesses accepting Bitcoin Cash and Dash, well, turn to AnyPay because they make it easy for local businesses to accept those things, those cryptocurrencies. And now you can actually earn passive income for every purchase made in those cryptocurrencies at your local businesses that you bring on board. So if you make it happen, you get the rewards now with AnyPay's new ambassador program. What you do is you download the AnyPay Cash Register app on iOS or Android, set it up for yourself. So you put your own crypto wallet addresses in the back end of your account on AnyPay. And then you sign up your business, get them to download the AnyPay Cash Register app, whatever local business it is you want to get on board, local coffee shop or whatever. And then you let AnyPay know at anypayinc.com. Tell them what you did at anypayinc.com. Let's go to Mark, who I believe we have a mostly working connection with him now at this point. He's on hotel Wi-Fi calling us in Hong Kong. Mark.
From the future.
Hey, there you are. And I think you're 13 hours into the future, so it's already tomorrow.
Nice.
Where you are. So how goes it? It sounds like you made it through the communist customs. Okay, I presume.
Found communist customs. I'm in Hong Kong.
So wait, they're not being run by the Chinese. The customs there is not being run by the Chinese government?
Well, I couldn't tell you that for sure, but I can tell you that coming into Hong Kong was pretty much better than coming into the U.S.
Really?
No TSA?
Faster.
Yeah, Hong Kong is theoretically self-governing, although China exercises a lot of influence in their politics.
Well, I've got 2 interviews scheduled for today with different protesters, and I'll put those out on the Edgington Post in the near future.
Nice.
And the Edgington Post is a podcast series that you do where you kind of just interview people you want to talk to because we don't really do interviews on Free Talk Live very often. And that gives you the ability to talk to whoever you want. And you're there in Hong Kong for the next few days. I heard you're going to be taken around on a tour by some of the folks from the Epoch Times.
A tour. They're going to be setting me up with protesters, and I was told where one was going to be yesterday, but I was kind of stuck and wasn't able to go. But hopefully we'll see something the next day or two.
Do you know anything about what's been going on? I mean, we haven't heard too much recently here about the ongoing conflicts between the Chinese government, central government, and the protesters there.
There seems to have been some ramping down of the most violent of conflicts, or if you want to use that terminology, but there's still protests going on, and these people still want more freedom.
So, I mean, you've only been there for like a day now? Is this day number 2 for you?
Yeah, I showed up about 24 hours ago.
Mm-hmm. Any observations? I mean, Hong Kong's a big city. It's an international city. There's a lot of languages there. Just some first things that kind of you might want to share out with our listeners.
And Mexico, not as clean as New York City.
We missed the first few words there. What about Mexico? Cleaner than Mexico?
Cleaner than Mexico, yeah.
Cleaner than. All right. Cool. And
I would say that the section of town that I'm in, it's not that I've never seen a white guy, but rare enough that they'll stop and take a look.
Wow, really?
Huh.
That's surprising. Yeah. What's it called, the section of town that you're in?
Kowloon.
I've heard of it.
Perhaps.
I've heard of it. Kowloon. Very cool.
Wow. I like the word. I don't know what else to say about it. It's been really great, and everybody's been very kind to me. The worst thing I can possibly say about what happened is I may have overpaid for a pound of cherries.
Oh, okay. Could be worse. Could be a lot worse.
Yes, and if I overpaid, overpaid by like $1.50.
Gotcha.
Do you feel different as a minority now?
I like it. It's nice.
No, I remember we've heard about, years ago we talked about Hong Kong here on Free Talk Live, sort of around the time when, or it was closer to the changeover. I guess it was 1997. We weren't on the air yet at that point. But the old claim was if you were going to be a waitress in Hong Kong, you had to know like 3 to 5 languages at minimum. So it was a very highly competitive environment, even for the most low skill, what we would traditionally consider, anybody could be a waitress. Well, in America, that's true. But there, you're in high competition. So has there been a lot of English around you?
Or another way to look at it is, in that particular city, waitressing is a high skill job.
Yeah. But that's just it. There aren't any low-skill jobs that deal with other people, right? Like you've got to be able to interact with an international community of tourists and business people that are there. So, I mean, have you had a lot of English being spoken around you?
Yeah, I would go so far as to say that that the amount of language they know doesn't necessarily dictate their skill level. Mm-hmm. That most people know some English, and I'm talking about the oldest people I've talked to here can figure out what I'm talking about. They know enough rudimentary English. They can say thank you and things like that. They can figure out that I want a pound of cherries and 1 banana, not a bunch. So it's going pretty well.
So we've been talking about cryptocurrency here tonight. Have you seen? I remember when I was in Tokyo, there were advertisements for Bitcoin that were actually in the streets in one of the sections of town. Have you seen any, Bitcoin or cryptocurrency related signage or billboards or activity or anything that was obvious?
No, and my normal activity of asking people, "You take Bitcoin?" I've suspended here because the communication is just too difficult.
Interesting. All right. Anything else you want to share tonight about your journey so far? It's still relatively early, and you got more to do.
No, I think this is really awesome. I can't wait to get these protesters on the mic and find out what's going on with them.
Cool. Hey, thanks for taking time out of your morning to call in, and we'll hear from you again, I'm sure, before you head to the Mariana Islands, which is your next step on the journey coming up later this week.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mark. That's Mark Edge.
Safe journey, Mark.
Yep, Free Talk Live co-host going to the Mariana Islands after he's done in Hong Kong. He's going to be there for an indeterminate amount of time. I mean, I've been saying he's moving to the Mariana Islands.
It's so cool, though. Like,
it's actually going to be hot in the Mariana Islands.
Well, okay, but like, he's on an adventure, right? He's out doing the thing. He's going to end up in arguably the least governed possession of the United States of America, as near as I can tell.
That's the claim.
And get together with some other people that are into the cryptocurrency and try
at least
to make,
one other guy.
Yeah, try to somehow make a go of that. I mean, that's as pioneering and pilgriming as like a guy can get these days, unless of course you're trying to go to outer space.
Well, yeah, and he is going to what's called the Crypto Frontier. Right. So that's the name of this new project, and it is pretty early. It is really a frontier.
And hopefully he doesn't
need a programmer for this.
Hopefully he doesn't die of dysentery.
Ooh, yeah, don't drink the water out there.
It's no Oregon Trail.
So we got more coming up. You can join us here. Our toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. And you can bring up whatever's on your mind. We'll talk about the D word. Some people are really upset in the year 2020. This is Free Talk Live, and you can take control of the airwaves here. The toll-free number is 855-450, free like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. We're going to talk about the D word coming up. Some moms are apparently very upset at Burger King over one of their commercials. But first, in the studio with you tonight, it's Ian.
Nobody.
And I am the ape man. I am the walrus.
Cuckoo, choo.
No, I'm Captain Kickass. Very good.
AnyPay, we already told you about them. Hey, Divvy, I want you to know about this. The next generation wallet is coming from Divvy. In just a few taps, you'll be able to spend, earn, store, and exchange digital money in seconds. Divvy says you'll be able to send money around the globe in only a swipe and instantly exchange between Divvy, Bitcoin, and fiat currencies like the dollar in the mobile app and then withdraw directly to your bank account. There's no need to wait, however, because Divvy already offers the first one-tap solution for earning passive income with their multi-tiered masternodes, allowing anyone to earn by supporting the Divvy network. When the new Divvy wallet launches, because of Divvy's relationship with Western Union, Divvy will be in 200 countries, including the United States. You can learn more at divvyproject.org. That's divvyproject.org. As we continue, we're going to go to your calls and thoughts, and then we'll get into the Burger King controversy here in moments. But first, Patrick is on the line, watching us on DLive. Go ahead, Patrick.
Hello. Hey, listen. Am I on the radio right now?
You are on the radio, yes, sir.
Oh my goodness, I'm so excited. Hey, listen. I have to make an apology to that fellow from MyPillow.
Okay.
At first, I got my MyPillow for Christmas. And I don't think I threw the instructions away. I did.
Uh-oh.
I admit
All right.
it.
Well, it's not that complicated.
Big mistake.
Put your head on it and sleep.
Did you have a dream about eating a giant marshmallow and you woke up and your pillow was gone?
I didn't adjust the pillow correctly. And at first I didn't like it. Now that I've adjusted it, the best pillow I've ever had.
Oh, interesting. So I love the MyPillow, I got to say. And, they don't pay me to endorse it. It's a great product. Sorry, go ahead.
Well, they paid somebody because I heard an ad.
No. Those ads are what they call in the business per acquisition ads, meaning that you only get paid if somebody buys a MyPillow.
Obviously, you got a way bigger brain than me because I don't know nothing about that. But anyway, all I'm saying is that my pillow, now that I've adjusted it, is much better. What I'd like to talk to you guys about is individualism versus collectivism.
Okay.
And the morality of that. So do you, it's easy to. I used to be a libertarian just like you guys.
Oh,
and
you're the guy who called in a few nights ago saying that you used to be libertarian. I find folks like you fascinating.
Well, it's not like I found some other solution, right? Anyway, back to my point. So, do you believe that there is moral good and evil?
Well, that's an interesting question. I think most of the people who are doing what I would consider to be evil believe they're doing good. I think that they believe that they're helping, that they believe that the things that they're doing are going to make society better, and that they're doing them for what they believe are the right reasons, but ultimately their means are corrupted. That's what I believe. Now, nobody. What do you think about that?
The phrase that sprung to mind was those who can make you believe absurdities can make you commit atrocities. I think it's a lot.
Oh, yeah, that's well said. Yeah,
I think it's a lot easier to trick people down a purportedly good moral path than to sell people on the idea of just let's go be flat out evil.
But are the people who are doing you're using the term trick, so are the people who are doing the tricking, are they evil? Do they think they're evil and they're trying to recruit people?
I think that if you're a very intelligent person and you're near the top of this system, and you're still doing it, then I would say you have to be evil. If you have the capacity to understand what the system is doing, and you're continuing to operate the system, then I would say you would have to be
Am I muted?
evil.
Nope, you're right here. Go ahead.
No, so lacking a moral compass, right? That's what we call evil, right? Like we all know, me and you. I've never met you, but I assume you know how to treat people right and wrong. the golden rule, I suppose.
Sure.
Do unto others, and right, yeah.
Yeah, well,
Don't hit people.
use a derivative of that. I assume that other people are living by the golden rule and doing unto me as they want me to do unto them. So I do unto them as they do unto me, and that way they get what they want.
That's a twisted version of the golden rule, sir.
I'm a twisted individual.
You don't do unto others as they do unto you. You do unto others as you would have done unto yourself.
Well, that's what you do.
If possible, I'll do unto others before they get a chance to do unto me.
Yeah.
Now, hold on, Patrick. Patrick, I want to give Captain Kickass a chance to answer your question about evil in the world.
I'll be quiet.
I know that evil exists, and I know that good exists based on my experiences. I have experienced what I will call good. I have also experienced what I will call evil. What creates those? What conditions do they fall under? I mean, that's all subject to individual interpretation. But I will say that the evil that I have seen and experienced, the people, and I'm talking about like the most evil things, the people conducting the evil were fully aware that what they were doing was less than moral.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I could taste the evil. How did it taste?
I've seen evil personified, so it's a subject near and dear to my heart.
All right, so Patrick, where are you going with this question?
I guess my point is that in a pure like libertarian like anarcho-capitalist society, there's a need for the general populace to be basically moral.
And I think they basically are. I think most people are generally good. And I think that's the reason why we have as peaceful of a society as we do, and as the reason why we have as an effective and productive of a society as we do. People aren't out there, robbing everybody blind left and right and attacking and pillaging and raping. And it's not because there's some cops, somewhere in the vicinity. It's because it benefits people to be good to one another. It benefits people to treat each other fairly and honestly.
And I hate to. If I may, may I?
Yeah, please.
I'm sorry. I don't mean to interrupt. But
Fine.
And I'm going to sound like a leftist here. That's a privileged opinion. You're seeing it from a person who doesn't live in the less agency parts of the world. That's fine, dude. In Oviedo, Florida, where I'm close to, it's all upper middle class. The cops don't have to do anything. They just sit around and write speeding tickets. But in Baltimore,
so wait, are you saying
different.
Okay, so you're saying that in some parts of the world there's more crime than in others?
Yeah,
but there's.
I'm not
for the most
that.
part, things are very
fact.
peaceful. I'm going to give you another example of this. In Acapulco, Mexico, where I've gone for the last few years. We're not going this year, by the way, to Acapulco. We just couldn't make it just didn't work out, unfortunately.
Why would you ever go to Mexico?
There was a great party that was thrown down there.
The most violent place on the planet.
Right? That's what everybody says. But hey, guess what? When you're in Acapulco, the most violent place, one of the most, the murder capital or whatever of Mexico, or certainly one of the most violent places in Mexico, Guerrero province or Guerrero state, very, very high crime rate compared to the other states in Mexico. It's still peaceful. Day in, day out, for the most part. If you're not involved in drug dealing, and competing with the cartels, the odds are good. You're probably not going to get into any kind of, fracas.
Okay,
or whatever.
But did you?
Now the other thing,
I'm not trying to be disrespectful here, and I promise you, I've been listening to y'all's radio show on D-Live for like a couple weeks. I've called in the last couple days. Mm-hmm. But listen, did you try to project any power?
Well, the thing is, certainly you would want the ability to.
I'm sorry. Go ahead. I'm sorry. I interrupted.
You don't have to keep apologizing. Let's just keep going with the conversation.
Certainly you need the ability to project power, and that was something I was going to mention. It hasn't come up yet, is in an ANCAP society, it's quite likely especially at first, that everybody would be walking around armed. So your first level of defense, your first ability to project power would be having a personal firearm and knowing how to use it.
Which you cannot do in Acapulco. And Patrick, if you want to keep discussing this, we can hang on to standby, because last time when you called, we had full phones and we had to let you go after a segment. But right now, we don't have anybody else on the line, so I want to keep this conversation going. We'll continue here if Patrick wants to stick with us through the news into hour number 3.
Hang out.
I think it's an interesting discussion. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE, but guns are not legal for the average person to carry around. Certainly, tourists can't be, walking around with them in Mexico. But yet, for the most part, everybody gets along.
Do you want more businesses accepting Bitcoin Cash and Dash? Now, with AnyPay, you earn passive income for every purchase at those businesses. Finally, a financial incentive to spread Bitcoin Cash and Dash. You made it happen, so you receive the rewards. Download the AnyPay Cash Register app and add your cryptocurrency wallet addresses. Then, install it at a real-life business and tell us what you did at AnyPayInc.com. AnyPayInc.com.
Free Talk Live.
This is Free Talk Live, and you can take control of the airwaves here. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE, like freedom. That's 855-450-3733 as we launch into the third hour of the program. With you tonight, it's Ian.
Nobody.
And the captain.
We're going to get back into your calls and thoughts here, but still to come, we do have this story about this conservative group of moms who's all in a flutter about the D word being used in a Burger King commercial.
Quick, somebody panic.
And isn't their acronym also MOM? I believe the organization is called Millions of Moms.
Oh, okay. I thought you were going to combine the D word with moms or something. I wasn't sure what you were going to do and which D word we were talking about.
I've done that before, but let's not talk about my personal life.
Let's get back to Patrick, though. He's on the line. He's been waiting patiently here through the news. And Patrick, you called in with some interesting questions. You brought up individualism. You talked about evil. Hold on. I got to recap here for Patrick. We got to recap briefly for our listeners that are just tuning in. You got to remember, we're on the radio, so there's always somebody, like right now, somebody just got in their car at the airport. They turned the key in the ignition, and they're hearing us just now for the first time. So I always got to keep that in mind. So, Patrick, you brought up questions about evil and, good in the world, and, we talked about different societies and that sort of thing. And so, anyway, what were you trying to say there? Go ahead.
Well, I think I was trying to say, is there a moral? Do you believe in moral good and evil? And I think you guys kind of equivocated a bit.
I think we all had somewhat different answers between the three of us.
Yeah. No, I mean it was Yes, yeah. Of course.
And what do you believe? There's also a matter of sense. I mean, there are things that I think, I have a moral code that I live by. I think it's a good code.
Do you think that your neighbor should live by that code, sir?
Well, they could do worse, but it's not my job to pick their code.
So what if, is their code, could their code be anything, or does it have to be something?
If they want to stay alive, their code has to involve not doing bad things to me and mine.
Okay, hold on, dude. If you ask a question, you got to let him answer the question and not keep talking.
I apologize.
If you're talking,
stop talking.
Okay, if you're talking, we know you can't be listening, right?
You're right.
Okay, so can you re-answer that question, nobody, please?
I can't remember what I just said.
You alluded to the fact that the other person's moral code had best not include aggressing upon you if he wants to remain in the living world.
Yeah, and that's pretty much my only requirement that I place on other people's moral codes. And it comes down to Thomas Jefferson wrote that rightful liberty was unobstructed action according to our will, bounded only by the equal rights of others. I do not add within the limit of the law, because the law is often but the tyrant's will, and always so when it violates the right of the individual.
That's a good one.
I like it.
All right. Patrick?
Yeah. So what he's saying, I think, if I'm hearing it correctly, if my neighbor lets his dog.
LRN.FM.
We are actually on a broadcast radio show. It's too bad. It was going pretty good. I think that was an honest mistake. I don't think that.
Sorry, Patrick.
I don't think Patrick called in with the intention to do that after 15 minutes.
We can finish his thought, I guess.
He was talking about a dog evacuating.
Yeah, if a dog decides to take care of business on your lawn, has your neighbor now aggressed upon you?
And I would say, yeah. I mean, if my neighbor is keeping a beast, then it's his responsibility to keep up with his beast.
But that doesn't mean that that doesn't mean that you should have a right to blast him in the face with a gun, right? That's a disproportionate response to the dog crapping in the yard.
Right.
That's what Chris
really
Cantwell would advocate. Chris Cantwell would say if you steal a paperclip, then you should be able to blast somebody and take their life. And I would say that's ridiculous.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, to some extent, there's always a question of how it starts versus how it ends, because most fatal disputes, I think people don't think those disputes are going to be fatal when they
at the beginning
get into them.
Well, yeah, if you escalate a situation,
most people who die in disputes live their afterlife in eternal surprise. Like, I can't believe he did that.
I mean, sometimes folks, when they start thinking about the ideas of liberty, or they start thinking about philosophy, or all of the things we talk about on this program, they come up with these scenarios, right? And in an effort to understand, and I get it, right? Because you're thinking about it now. You're like, okay, well, if you believe in the non-aggression principle, and the neighbor's dog, decides to take care of business on your lawn, how do you solve that problem without the state? Well, first of all, who has that problem that they can't solve by themselves with their neighbor? If you have that problem that you can't solve by yourself with your neighbor, you need to work on your neighborly skills.
There are people, not only are there people who are timid, but there are also a-hole neighbors who don't give an F about what you think.
Right. So
those people do exist.
So do you think the majority of the people who have a problem with their neighbor's dog taking a dump in their yard or whatever are solving the problem with the state, or are they solving it by being neighborly?
Oh, you're more likely to solve it by...
Most of them are solving it by being neighborly, but then the question becomes, and okay, 99% of the time you can, but what about that 1%?
What about it?
Well, what happens if you go over neighborly and the guy says my dog will do his business wherever he pleases, and
I mean, I'm a big fan of 3 strikes, right? So, I'll give your dog 3 times of, defecating in my yard. And if you don't come and clean it up when they do, I'll take photos. I'll stamp it with the time and the date. I'll send it to you. I'll send receipts of, the time and date when your dog does so. And if you don't take care of it, then after the 3rd time, I am going to shoot
the dog. Yeah. Yep. If you've given a fair warning like that, I feel like that's completely fair.
Yeah.
And, as long as that person respects your private...
It kind of sucks for the dog.
Good point. Yeah, that does suck.
The dog is the real loser in this scenario.
Maybe maybe the target is incorrect in that scenario. I don't know. I'd have to think about that for a while.
But I don't blame you for saying that. I don't think that's an irrational response at that point. I mean, it gives the person the opportunity to make amends, to make things right, to apologize, to say they'll do their best to keep their dog under control, assuming they're not a total psychopath and they're like, well, F you, I don't care what you do, and if you shoot my dog, I'll shoot you.
Right.
And it could come to that.
Could.
Yeah, and at that point, I think that's where the having protection agencies would be a good thing. The thing is, it should be protection agencies you subscribe to. And if you don't like the service you're getting from the people you're getting your protection service from, you should be able to go get it from somebody else.
Sure. And then, of course, we also get into the question of, reputation in this future society that we all would like to see a stateless society, one without some monopoly on protection, without a monopoly government that is cramming its way down our throats and demanding that we obey their rules, even when they themselves won't obey their own rules. I mean, what we have today is bad. There's no doubt about it. What could be better? Well, a lot of things could be better. Do we know exactly what it would look like? No, we really don't know what it would look like. We can sit here and speculate, but until that monopoly status is taken away from the state, and until there is the freedom to innovate and to have these protection services like you talk about, nobody, and we can talk about what it might look like, but again, that's just the three people sitting here speculating.
I love the slavery analogy, right? When overt slavery was still around and in vogue, everybody knew it was wrong, but it was done anyway, because that's just how it's always been. But eventually it went away. Why? Because everybody knew it was wrong.
Did everybody know that?
Well, a majority of people did, right? They knew that it was wrong to hurt other human beings. So it went away, and I'm sure people were like, who will pick the cotton? We didn't know. Right. We didn't know it'd be large machines powered by gasoline that would, pick the cotton.
The market figured it out.
But it ended anyway, and then the market figured it out.
855-450 free. Now the market, or some people in the market, are upset about the D word. This is Free Talk Live, and you can join us here. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE like freedom. It's 855-450-3733. We have the Discord call-in line rooms as well over at discord.lrn.fm. That's where you can call in and sound almost like you're sitting here in the studio with us. Tonight, it's Ian.
Nobody.
And I can see for miles and miles. It's the captain.
LibertyCon is happening April 3rd through the 5th. You can join us in Washington, D.C. We're going to be there. Well, at least I know I'm going to be there. I don't know. Mark may or may not. I don't know if he can get away from the Mariana Islands to go, in which case I might drag somebody else with me. So we'll see, because I'm looking forward to checking out LibertyCon April 3rd through the 5th in D.C. with more than 70 pro-liberty organizations there at this event. You want to do some networking for career advancement, business, and internship opportunities, this is going to be the place to be. Plus, you get to see some great speakers like John Mackey, the Whole Foods CEO and co-founder, Vernon Smith, who won the Nobel Prize in Economics, Miriam Issa, a pop culture expert with over 300 million YouTube views, and Nassim Nicholas Taleb, who is the author of The Black Swan. There's a lot more to learn. Go to libertycon.com for more information about the event. You can also use code FTL to save $10 on your tickets, which are available now and are shockingly affordable for a 3-day-long event like this. Under $100 is the regular ticket price, and knock $10 off with code FTL if you go to libertycon.com to get signed up. And student travel scholarships are available, so if you're a young person, you're a student, you want to attend this thing, but you're tight on cash, they're going to help you get there. That's pretty cool. Plus, discounted rooms are also available for everyone attending and staying at the Marriott Marquis. So use code FTL to get $10 off at libertycon.com and mark your calendar for April 3rd through the 5th in Washington, D.C. So I do want to share the caller that we had on the line, Patrick, who we had a really interesting conversation until he sadly said the S word on the air. We had to hit the dump button. But he is in our D-Live chat room, and he says, I was going to say something along the lines of, you shouldn't shoot a dude for letting his dog S in your yard. And I agree.
Yes.
You shouldn't. Nor should you shoot a little girl for stomping on your flowers in your flower bed. I mean, that's not a nice thing for the girl to do, but it should not result in a disproportionate punishment. Right. And disproportionate would be shooting her over that. Try to be more creative in how you handle situations.
Compromise and work together. I mean, that's the heart of humanity. We all have to live on this floating rock together. So
there's more comments here, though, that I wanted to share. So he says, so even though it's a property crime in the strictest sense, another person in the chat room, Stephen B., says, property can turn into its own tyranny if you hold it as a hard dogma. He says, it's one of the big problems I have with anarcho-capitalists.
Okay.
Well, I have a problem with waking up with strange hippies in my bed. And
depending on who they are.
Again?
I mean, uninvited, strange hippies.
I thought you had the pest removal guy over, took care of that.
Well, I mean, the thing is, there are certain hippies that I expect to appreciate, but you know, right. you don't want random ones turning up in your bed. Nope. And so I'm a great believer in private property with respect to I want to have a place where I can keep my stuff,
right,
and my stuff can be safe, because otherwise I'm going to be irritable.
Yeah, I think people miss the mark with some of the the rigidity of property rights, where like you still have to be a human being to other people, right? Now, if you don't want to, okay, great.
Well, as long as you have to live with other people, you should be human and humane towards them. But if you are somehow the most self-reliant person, you can do everything, live off the land. You don't need other human beings to fix anything for you, to do anything for you, to provide you with anything.
Frickin' Adams.
Yeah, you can be as rude as you want to everybody else at that point because you don't need them.
Right.
Yeah, and you want to be alone for your whole life, then go ahead. Right. Have that life. But for the most part, most of us are social animals, and we need other people in our lives. We want to specialize ourselves and do one thing really, really well, or a couple things really, really well, so which means we can't do a bunch of other stuff because we haven't focused on that. So we need other people to do those things.
Well, now, of course, there's a whole lot of different definitions of what's rude.
Sure.
And the nice thing is, you can... most people can find a social circle that can tolerate their idea of neighbors, their idea of manners, even if their goods are not for all markets.
Well, that comes to the next line in here in this chat room. So Bogey Thrim, who was the guy that called in, he says, my question is this: what is best for society as a whole? And then he repeats that, as a whole, in all caps. And my question to that is, who decides what's best for society? That's the big problem here, is all these politicians, they think they know what's best for society, and they are going to force it down your throat at the point of a gun.
Yeah. Why should anybody decide what's best for society as a whole?
No one should. Yeah.
And not nobody.
No one at all.
As much as nobody would want to.
Because there are always going to be different opinions on what is best in the direction that...
What's best for society as a whole is to allow everybody to be an individual.
And let each person be to the best of their ability the change they want to see in the world.
Absolutely.
So if there's something you don't like about the world, change it.
Indeed. Let's go on. We've got Ralph. He's on the line in Maine. Ralph, you're on Free Talk Live with Ian, Nobody, and the Captain.
Yeah. First, Trump said that he killed General Soleimani because he killed hundreds of Americans, and there was no proof of that. Nope. The general actually destroyed ISIS, even though the U.S. and Israel were helping the terrorists. And then Trump changed and said, well, Trump said there was an imminent threat that he was going to attack 4 embassies. And yet the Secretary of Defense, Mark Esper, was just in the news this weekend saying that he saw no specific evidence that Iran was planning any embassy attacks. And now I read in the Jerusalem Post that Israeli intelligence was actually behind this assassination. They helped finger the general. They had informants and spies at the Syrian airport and even on the plane. So they knew exactly where and when he was going to be at the airport. And then Netanyahu comes out and says, this is not our fight. We aren't involved. And yet Netanyahu was the only world leader given advance notice of the hit. I mean, are we Israelis bitch or what?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, and have been for a long time. You ever heard of a guy named Epstein?
Oh, yeah.
The guy didn't kill himself?
Nope.
I'll tell you what. Epstein was a guy who liked to traffic in very young prostitutes, and he also liked to film people in the act with said prostitutes and use that material for blackmail. And it's widely believed now that he was doing all this on behalf of Mossad. So
yes, and Ghislaine Maxwell, his madam, is still running around, jet-setting around the world, and nobody's after her. She's the one that procured all these young ladies.
She's one of the ones.
I'm probably in the minority, but I think this whole Epstein didn't kill himself thing has ruined the character Epstein from Welcome Back, Otter for me.
I still love Epstein from Welcome Back, Kotter.
What
Nothing can touch.
What was the old line? Up your nose with a rubber hose?
Up your, or twice as far with a chocolate bar.
That was Epstein, right? Who was
in your ear with a can of beer?
Yeah, 855-450 free. I haven't seen that show, God, 25 years. 855-450 free like freedom. This is free. Bitcoin.com has launched a trading platform at local.bitcoin.com, allowing you to buy or sell Bitcoin Cash via dozens of payment methods like PayPal, Venmo, bank deposit, remittances, or meeting in person with cash. There are no ID requirements to sign up for and use the site, and all communications between buyers and sellers are encrypted. Finally, a global trading platform that respects your privacy. Visit local.bitcoin.com to get started trading Bitcoin Cash. local.bitcoin.com. It's Free Talk Live, and you can bring up what you want right here. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE, like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. We've got the Discord call-in line rooms over at discord.lrn.fm, so feel free to hop into any of those, and we will join you in there, and then you'll be on the air with us, and you can talk about whatever is on your mind. Coming up still, the story about Burger King. They're in the news not because of the Impossible Whopper itself, but apparently a commercial about it that uses the D word, according to Fox News. So we'll get into that. Some people are really upset, like inordinately upset about this. With you in the studio tonight, it's me, Ian.
Nobody.
And I fought the law, and the law won.
They need
At
to
least
stop
they
winning.
didn't use the 17-letter S word.
And I'm the captain.
By the way, you can join the Free Talk Live email list. That's easy to do. You go to freetalklive.com. You'll find the email sign-up box there near the top and middle of the site, so check that out over at freetalklive.com. Or actually, if it's during our live hours, the sign-up box is all the way at the bottom of the site, so just keep your eyes open. You'll see it there at freetalklive.com. So let's get into the story here from Fox. The conservative group 1 Million Moms. Now, I don't know anything about this group, but what little I do know from this article, they sound like a real fun bunch.
I'm wrong about their acronym, too. It's apparently OMM.
Yeah.
It sounds like, if Karens formed a street gang.
It sounds awful. It's accusing Burger King of crossing the line over an Impossible Whopper commercial that uses the D word.
Do they want to talk to the manager?
Quote, Burger King is airing a commercial that uses profanity to advertise its Impossible Whopper, a burger made from plants instead of beef, the group's website reads.
That's impossible.
Go on to say, the language in the commercial is offensive, and it's sad that this once family restaurant has made yet another deliberate decision to produce a controversial advertisement instead of a wholesome one.
You know what kind of families I've ever seen in Burger King? Poor ones.
Yeah.
How can you fit that much sand in one vagina?
The group, which is a division of the American Family Association, called out a commercial that documents the reactions of taste tests of the now popular meatless burger. One man, completely stunned by the Impossible Whopper's tastiness, says, "Damn, that's good."
Was this a publicity stunt? Is this something that their PR people wrote?
So you think Burger King put them up to this?
Oh, maybe.
I think Burger King may have made this press release to get people reading about the Impossible Burger thing.
Maybe Burger King made a donation to these sandiest of vagina 1 million moms to release said press release, claiming that they're offended by the word "damn."
I think we may actually have the commercial here, courtesy of the Burger King Twitter.
We invited Impossible fans to the opening of a very special restaurant.
Tonight we are at the grand opening of the Impossible Burger restaurant.
I love Impossible Burgers. I hunt them down. I camped out.
By the way, the Impossible Burger.
She hunts Impossible Burgers down? Like, aren't they made of not beef?
Right.
So
are these something that exists in the wild? Do you have to catch them and skin them?
Here we see the wild, impossible creature
Now,
in its
I
natural
would
habitat.
never eat one of those things.
I tried one of these sorts of things when I was in Vegas.
If I knew this would be the topic tonight, I'd have done it tonight.
You'd have had one?
No, I'd have done the improbable burger that I keep talking about.
Oh, right.
That's one patty of regular beef and one impossible patty on the same burger.
But would you have hunted
improbable burger.
Would you have hunted them and put them together, or would you have just ordered?
Oh yeah, not 3 hours ago they was in the trees and singing.
I've put on some weight recently. I might need to upgrade my tree stand to one that'll hold me now.
Yeah, so I did try one of these things in Vegas. There was, everything's way too expensive. I didn't go to Burger King. It was actually in the hotel that we were at. But they had the very same brand, I think it was, the Impossible Burger brand. But whoever the company is that's doing that, there's like Burger King isn't making the meat. They're contracting. And, it was fine. I thought it was fine. You put all the regular toppings on it or whatever, and you can't really tell that it's not meat. And I guess that's the idea behind it, right?
Silent Green is people.
But as I found out recently, and maybe these million moms should be happy about this, I don't know, but apparently these things have a lot of estrogen in them. I don't know if you heard about this, but there was like a meat industry press release that came out comparing the normal Whopper to the Impossible Whopper. And it's like 18 million times more estrogen in the Impossible Whopper as compared to the normal one.
Well, that's soybeans.
Maybe so.
That's why they call them soy boys.
Soy boys, yeah.
The hunters of these impossible creatures are well aware that the estrogen is where the real value is.
So let's go on here with the this Burger King commercial.
I camped out at to have the Impossible Burger. I have pictures. If you
now,
want.
what did they beep there?
Location, maybe? I camped out at.
Yeah, I don't know. Very weird. They put like a little letter over her mouth, and this is from the Burger King Twitter here, so this must be the way it aired originally.
And it feels like we're experiencing something big.
And we had some great news for them.
Okay, so what they did there was they flipped down they're outside of this location, this fake Impossible restaurant thing, and then they flipped down the signage and it revealed
big reveal.
It's actually a Burger King, and here's people's reactions.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
Now, are these actually people, or are they real reactions? Or
I'm pretty sure they're actually people. Building them out of CGI would be far too expensive.
Not these days with the deep fakes.
You can get actors for like $25 a day,
or a free burger,
a free burger.
Either way.
Yep, it's not an Impossible restaurant.
I don't know. I might be disappointed. I might be excited.
I'm so excited. I've been waiting for this.
Okay, you probably can't get professional actors.
The Impossible Whopper is now available in New York City.
Yes, but no. The Impossible Whopper is going nationwide.
Damn, that's good.
That's it. He even had his mouth full. You could barely even...
He said, damn, that's good.
Right. Yeah, you could barely even understand what he said.
That's good.
That was it.
1 million moms upset.
Yeah, they're mad.
Damn, that's good.
Taste the flame, girl.
Yeah, I wonder if mothers for good table manners are going to bring him up on the guy talking with his mouth full.
That's the most offensive part of this, actually.
I think that perhaps a large percentage of these 1 million moms are just horrible cooks because they've never had anybody eat anything they cooked and go,
damn, that's good. Yeah. Yeah, it's a good point.
We wouldn't have it any other way.
This is incredible. I'm not going to lie to you.
It's here.
Now, they blurred that guy's shirt out. The guy that said this is incredible.
Was it a McDonald's shirt?
I don't know. Whatever it was too offensive to be put into this, or maybe it was some sort of commercial thing. It suggests that it was a real guy, right? Like they're trying to make you think this is a real person that's really coming in off the street to
or
try
maybe
this
they
out.
CGI'd a blurred out thing and his shirt actually said nothing.
That would be really unnecessary.
It's here and it's in every Burger
Have you
King
ever
everywhere.
seen the unnecessary censorship skits?
Yeah, where they bleep out words that weren't curse words and it sounds like they were curse words.
Yeah,
because your brain fills in the dirty stuff.
Yeah.
Right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, it's brilliant comedy.
Whopper is now available nationwide. You too can go to any Burger King near you and try the Impossible Whopper with a patty made from plants, no beef. Get it while it lasts.
I mean,
only at Burger King.
With a patty made from beef.
That's what these people are.
Hey, 1 million moms, you know what you should be upset about? You should be upset about the fact that the damn schools aren't doing what they should for your children. That the damn schools are indoctrinating them and forcing them, brainwashing them into an otherwise authoritarian society.
Now, define Karen. You brought this up before, the Karen. What's a Karen?
The Karen is kind of the stereotypical soccer mom who wants to talk to the manager.
Okay.
Every place she goes.
It's the white girl
she's
at
got
Starbucks.
That haircut.
With the Starbucks order, order that's like 7 words long or whatever.
Yeah, that would be. I realize that's a very, very rough description.
If only there were a device.
But I'm a very rough guy.
Is there like a Karen meme too?
Oh, there's many.
There's many Karen memes, but yeah, that's kind of how Karen has entered the modern parlance.
I'll look it up so we can tell the audience
You might want to check it
what it
out on Urban Dictionary.
Good idea.
Well.
And there's also Know Your Meme, right? That's another great site.
Yeah, this is more a word than a meme, I think.
There's more coming up.
There have been Karen memes.
855 450 free. You want to join us? Talk about Burger King's offensive. This is Free Talk Live, and you can join us on the radio. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. We have the Discord call-in line rooms as well over at discord.lrn.fm. That's where we're going to go to here shortly. We got somebody waiting patiently in one of those rooms. You can be one of those people too, and we'll try to get you in here in the remaining moments. Also, we've got a forum for Free Talk Live listeners. Now, it is nowhere near as busy as the Discord, but if you want to check out the forum, you can go to forum.freetalklive.com. That's forum.freetalklive.com. If you prefer a little more of an organized discussion, that's what forums are good for. So we're talking about the angry moms, or the Karens, as you guys put it. These women who are apparently just looking for something to complain about. They have focused their vitriol against Burger King over and I don't even know if this is a television commercial. At least the version they're airing on Twitter is 1:09, so it's like 9 seconds too long to actually fit in a television break. Maybe they cut out 9 seconds of it and put it on.
Just for the audience, Karen is a mocking slang term for an entitled, obnoxious, middle-aged white woman.
Yep, and now there's 1 million of those women who, or at least they claim to have 1 million. Who knows what their actual numbers are? Because there's been all these million whatever marches in D.C. and they almost never have 1 million people. But they are mad about a man who mumbles in a Burger King commercial. He's eating
mouthful of burger,
Impossible Whopper, and he mumbles that it's damn good.
It goes, damn, that's good.
Yeah, something like that. And quote. This is from their press release. 1 million moms finds this highly inappropriate. When responding to the taste test, he didn't have to curse, or if in fact it was a real and unscripted interview in which the man was not an actor, then Burger King could have simply chosen to edit the profanity out of the commercial. Unquote. The group called the ad irresponsible and tasteless. They continued their rampant destruction of all things that are decent.
Get a life, lady or ladies or whomever. I mean, really, this is what you choose to focus your time and effort on?
They said further, quote, "It is extremely destructive and damaging to impressionable children. Viewing the commercial, we all know children repeat what they hear." Unquote.
Damn.
Damn, lady.
1 million moms called for the public to sign a petition urging Burger King to cancel the commercial, quote,
or at
the very least, edit out the cuss word immediately, they said.
Just edit the damn thing out.
It isn't the first time the group, which claims its mission is to, quote, stop the exploitation of our children, unquote, has used its platform.
And our naughty words.
Can we call them and talk to them about their damn organization?
He's used the platform to call out a commercial it doesn't agree with. Last month, the group caused the Hallmark Channel to initially pull a Zola commercial, I don't know what that is, featuring 2 brides kissing during a same-sex wedding ceremony.
Oh, wow. We should all make donations to Planned Parenthood in their name.
1 million moms said at the time, quote, "Now parents can no longer trust Hallmark because Hallmark is no longer allowing parents to be the primary educators when it comes to sex and sexual morality."
I can just see somebody now, like, in a grocery store or a coffee shop. Don't you know who I am? I'm one of the 1 million moms. We will shut your business down with our nosiness.
Of us.
Yeah.
And then, so here's the rest of the story with Hallmark. In this case, they later announced they decided to pull the commercial just days after 1 million moms marched with their petition, or they didn't march, they called for this petition. But then, after more backlash from the other public that supports gay marriage. Hallmark then reversed its reversal and reinstated the same-sex marriage commercials.
Well, we got to start a damn pro-damn movement.
Indeed.
Damn it.
One thing we know, the Hallmark Channel, no balls.
Let's go to Robert. He's in Bellows Falls, Vermont. You're on Free Talk Live. Hello, Robert.
Hi, guys. How you doing?
Thanks for
damn
bellowing
good.
at us.
Go ahead.
All right. So this is really kind of exciting what I want to share with you.
All right.
Among the more than 100 bills under the consideration by Vermont lawmakers this session is a measure to legalize prostitution.
Nice.
Yeah, I heard about this.
In Vermont?
The bill,
That's right.
which is co-sponsored by 4 women lawmakers, will repeal laws that ban prostitution by consenting adults, but it would keep state and federal laws against human trafficking.
Wait, 4 women politicians have sponsored this bill?
Yeah.
Are they hot?
I highly doubt it.
Know.
I have no reason to ask that other than curiosity. I just want to know.
They're politicians. What do you think?
I'm guessing no.
Well, I gotta say that as politicians go, a politician that would sponsor this bill is my kind of girl.
For sure. They have not solved the homeliness problem that I've brought up repeatedly on this show. So
the politician homeliness problem?
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you, if anybody who's for increasing freedom in any dimension has a little spot in my heart. Right. It's like Tulsi Gabbard's there for just foreign policy. That's all she's got.
She's attractive.
Well,
surprisingly,
she is actually very, very
she's
attractive.
Unusually attractive for a politician, and I hope she gets out of that business so she doesn't completely have her soul devoured by politics.
Might be too late.
Yeah,
well,
maybe.
I hope she finds the inner contradictions and becomes a libertarian.
Yeah.
So I feel like Robert didn't finish his statement.
No, yeah, go ahead, Robert, please.
I'm sorry.
Okay, so House Bill 569 is pending in the House Judiciary Committee.
569.
If enacted, it would take effect July 1st, 2020.
All right,
So,
you're lining. Are you going to be lining up? Huh?
If you're not all spanked out, this is the place you want to come.
Damn,
Robert, are you starting a service there that we can, advertise, market, and promote?
Oh well, I mean that is an idea.
Well, it's still a legitimate role for somebody to be a connector, somebody who finds the jobs for the prostitutes, whether you want to call that a pimp or a madam or whatever.
See, there's
talent.
a better way to do it, though.
Booker.
There's
scout?
a much better way to do it. Put it on the blockchain.
Now, what would that look like?
Just like you could do Uber on the blockchain, you could do prostitution.
There was going to be an app like that. We were at Anarchapulco a couple years ago, and there were some girls there, ladies, there from Pink Date. And I don't think that thing ever went through. I think the ICO bombed or whatever. Something happened where...
Oh, really? An ICO bombed?
Yeah, I don't think it ended up coming out. But they had that idea. They had the idea of essentially a decentralized prostitution app. And
I've wanted
like
to
Uber.
write this forever, and I think it could be done.
We'll get to it
legally if you just say not for use in locations where prostitution is illegal.
Right. It's not your responsibility who downloads the thing.
Well, exactly. And the way I would design it would be instead of having servers that can be shut down, each person hosts their own information, and they host the information of their friends, and that's how things are, and that's how things are propagated.
Decentralized.
So there's nobody to sue. You can't sue Facebook and make them take it down because there's nobody to sue except
Open Bazaar.
The 20,000 people who happen to have the content you object to sitting on their drive
Robert, let us know what happens with this bill over time. I appreciate the call tonight. Thanks,
great
man.
News.
Let's bring up Mortified Penguin here on our Discord server. Go ahead, Penguin.
Hey, I wanted to call in because you guys mentioned the Impossible Whopper, and I mean, look, if the Impossible Whopper really if the 44 milligrams or whatever of estrogen really counted, I would be further along in my transition than Aria.
So you've been eating a lot of these things?
I mean, yes, quite a few. And
you haven't had any breast growth or anything like that?
Your moobs are roughly the same size?
Nope, all pecs. No, it's so phytoestrogen, plant estrogen does not break down to estrogen in the human body. It can in some animals like ruminants that eat it. I got clarified on Discord myself because I was like, that's a really high number, but it just doesn't work out that way. It's a plant estrogen, and it doesn't break down to the human hormone.
Huh. And how's everything working for you? Strong like bull?
Yeah, so far, yes, it seems pretty good. Possible Whopper's pretty good. Tastes like a regular Burger King Whopper. I'm not sure if that's like the highest bar.
I was told that I was told that the Impossible Whopper tastes pretty good if you get it fresh, but if it's been like sitting in the warmer for a couple of minutes, that it's not so good. Is that true?
I think they make them to order. I mean, if you
have it your way.
Oh, right.
Yeah,
your way right away. Hey, thanks for the call, man. I appreciate hearing from you tonight. We're out of time. If you didn't get on tonight, no worries. We're back tomorrow. You can join us online in the meantime at freetalklive.com. Check out Captain Kickass, his website, lcaptainkickass.com. And your website, Nobody?
electnobody.com.
electnobody.com. He's running for governor here in New Hampshire, and you're going to want to follow the campaign.
The political world is a maddening cesspool of corruption and lies. Nobody tells the truth. Nobody keeps campaign promises. Nobody obeys the Constitution. Nobody puts the people first. How can we ever escape this web of tyranny? Vote for nobody.
Hi, my name is Nobody. I'm running for governor of New Hampshire because nobody knows how to live your life better than you do, and nobody deserves that kind of power. I want to put you back in control of your money, your lifestyle, your work, your body, and your life. Nobody should rule you but you. New Hampshire convicts many people of so-called crimes that should never have been prosecuted. If elected, I will pardon every victimless crime in New Hampshire history. This includes drug, gambling, prostitution, gun, and driving offenses. Nobody should have a criminal record when they have not harmed anybody.
Wouldn't it be nice to have nobody telling you what to do? Learn more at electnobody.com. electnobody.com.